Hello, this is Ensete Ventricosum Hiniba. It's another type of banana plant which we're adding to our collection in the tropical border at the back of the cottage. You can see it's got green leaves with a red stripe up the back, but it's not to be confused with the red striped banana. That's a completely different plant. It's also not to be confused with this monster behind me, the Ensete Ventricosum maurelii. That's the Abyssinian red banana. But this plant does share some similar care characteristics as the Abyssinian red banana, and I'm going to share those with you today. This is quite a rare plant, and my partner managed to track this down on a Facebook group. I think it cost about £60. So when you buy a plant that you know is not hardy, that costs £60, you do some research, and I'm going to share that research in this video today, which I'm kind of calling a guide to this plant, the Ensete Ventricosum Hiniba. Now, in this border behind me, I've got 3 Washingtonia robusta. It's supposed to be the hardy fan palm, but I'm not doing very well with these, so I'm going to take these out and put them into my plant hospital, do some research and try and understand why they're not thriving in this position. That will give me space for this beautiful new banana. I'm going to plant it at the front of the border so that it's got room to grow and doesn't conflict with this wall behind it. And whilst I'm digging these out and planting this in, I'll share some interesting facts about this wonderful plant. And I've already done several videos on the red banana behind me, Ensete Ventricosum maurelii, and you can find them all on a playlist on my channel. I'm just going to go straight in there and remove these plants and have a quick look at the roots and see if there's anything going on. Now, I put that on earlier in the year. I'm not seeing any real growth in any of these roots. In fact, a lot of these roots are looking dead. Right, let's get on with the banana planting and get these 3 out of the way. Come back to those another time. So getting back to this banana plant, Ensete Ventricosum Hiniba. Ensete generally means banana. And ventricosum means with a bulge on the side, like a belly. I looked that up on the internet, and that's where its Latin roots come from. And I wonder if that's because the trunks of these plants kind of develop a bulbous appearance, which does look like a little tummy. So this plant needs lots of water and lots of organic matter. So I'm going to dig this over, and I'm going to add some compost into the hole, and I'm also going to add a watering can full of water before I plant it in. I'm just digging that over there. It's actually quite moist, in fairness. We've been watering this on a daily basis. We're in the middle of a heat wave, so that's actually, in fairness, doing reasonably well. Now, these banana plants have been described as large, arborescent herbs. We probably all know what large and herb means. Arborescent, what does that mean? Well, again, I looked that up. It means having the appearance of a tree, or resembling a tree, and that's in reference to the trunk that it grows, which is actually not a trunk at all. It's the leaves as they grow out compacted together, but as it grows it gives the appearance of a trunk. There is some moisture in this soil, which is not a bad thing, because most banana plants need moisture. You think about their native habitat, they need moisture and they need organic matter. So I'm going to make this hole oversized, and I'm going to put some compost in the bottom. I'm going to add some pelleted chicken manure, and then I'm going to put a watering can full of water in it. That hole is much bigger than I need it for this plant, but that's deliberate. I'm also going to set it slightly below soil level so that when I do water it, the water doesn't run off. I'll make a ring around the base of the plant, and the water will sit in that ring until it soaks in underneath the plant's roots. There's our hole, lovely and deep. I'm actually feeling down here the roots of a conifer tree, which I removed when I first moved in. It was a large conifer tree. Those roots will be completely dead now. They'll be adding to the feed in this soil, which is actually quite damp. But underneath there is a layer of sand, which means it's free draining. So let's get some, well, first of all, let's test it for size again. Yeah, that's going to be about right. With a bit of compost underneath, that will be lifted up to about ground level. So let's get some compost in. Organic matter is the order of the day for this plant. Now these, in terms of propagation, can be propagated in a similar way to the Ensete maurelii, which is you divide the trunk in quarters and you plant each quarter, and then each of those quarters, if you keep them in the right kinds of circumstances, will develop little sprouts. And there's several videos on red banana propagation in a playlist on my channel. Of course, a plant like this costing £60, I wouldn't risk dividing that in 4 to propagate it. If I want another one of these, I'm just going to have to buy another one. So there's some compost, organic matter, in the bottom. I'm going to add to that just a handful of pelleted chicken manure, not too much. You can overfeed soil and you can burn the roots. I'm literally going to put no more than a dozen around the bottom of the hole. Now, some water. And whilst I add the water, I'll tell you that these are not hardy in the UK, so this plant will only remain in this hole for the summertime. Come winter time, it will come out of this hole. It will be taken into my garage along with the Ensete maurelii behind me, where it will be allowed to dry out and go into dormancy until the spring, and it will not come out until there's absolutely no risk of any frost. It's not a hardy plant. I'm not prepared to take the risk. It'll be quite happy in dormancy in the garage. Now the leaves of this plant, as you can see, are described as having a more upright, elegant habit, and they're meant to be more robust and therefore less prone to shredding. One of the things you do get with banana plant leaves is shredding, so a good thing to do with these plants is put them in a sheltered position out of strong winds. But if ever you've been to the Caribbean or places where these grow as either crop plants or in the wild, you'll notice that a lot of the leaves are shredded and they wave like flags. Now there we go, that sits nicely in that hole, and that's going to look nice there, and that will grow actually up to 4 meters. I don't know whether we'll get 4 meters out of this plant this season, but I'll take it out at the end of the year, put it into cold storage in the garage, and when I bring it out it will be slightly larger and it will grow even further up. This plant has got a great set of roots on it. I am just going to tease a few of those away so that I help them change direction. At the moment they're all travelling in a circular direction because they'd reached the extent of the outside of the pot, so we'll just break them away a little bit and that'll just help them move off sideways into a different direction in search of food. This soil is good quality compost. It's not too compacted and it's actually reasonably damp, so I think this has been well looked after. I'll find out who we bought this off, I'm not entirely sure, and I'll put it in the description box below this video just in case you're looking for one. I believe that these are very rare plants, probably because of the difficulties in propagating them. So there we go, a nice little set of roots to go in a lovely generous hole, and I've set that just at the edge of this brick here so that I can put a ring, a slightly indented ring around the bottom. You'll see it in a moment, and that's where I'll be able to water it, and that water will then soak down instead of running off. Let's get some compost around it. Oh yes, lots of lovely rich food to get its roots into, and that can go in there. Just gently compact it down. Now I also read on the internet that the leaves were described as glaucous. Now I'm not one to use a word unless I know what it means, so again Google was my friend and I looked at the meaning of the word glaucous. I don't know if you know what it means, but apparently it means a subtle sort of shade of blue or green. And it also can mean that the leaves can have a kind of a powdery bloom on them, a bit like you get on grapes. And in fact, I can see that here. I'll give you a bit of a close-up, but there's evidence of that on this red rib of this leaf. Just gently firming it in here. I'm going to top dress it with a few more of these chicken wings. Not too many. There's plenty of food in that compost. We do feed this border on a weekly basis with liquid seaweed as well, so I'll just level the soil out behind, and now I'll go and get another watering can full of water and we'll give that a good soaking. So there we go. Ensete Ventricosum Hiniba, a large evergreen arborescent herb, arborescent meaning tree-like, with glaucous leaves, glaucous meaning pale green or blue with a powdery bloom. A plant that loves organic, rich soil and lots of water, and it will grow up to 4 meters given the chance. Its leaves slightly more robust than a lot of bananas, which means that they're less prone to shredding, but it's not hardy in the UK, so come the autumn time you'll see me digging this up. I'll do a video on winter care for this particular plant. This is my tropical border, and a couple of people have asked for an update on this border, so I'll be doing a video in the next couple of weeks. I've only had this planted for about a month and it's doing incredibly well. It's full of canners. There's a tetrapanix and a ginger, several different types of banana. So I'll give you an update on this border in the very near future. Hope you've enjoyed that, found it enjoyable, informative and entertaining. If you have, please do hit the like button and do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And of course, don't forget to comment below. And I want to signpost someone who's an expert on this, Yorkshire Kris. He does a lot of exotic gardening in Yorkshire, so I'll put a link to his channel in the description box below this video. I do use him as a resource, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. And I'll see you soon.